Summit Motorsports Park. We're going to get one time trial today, and that's it. So they're trying to hurry the program up so we can all go home and people can go to work tomorrow. So we still have a carburetor problem, but we're going to try to work through it, and we'll see what we can do, and we'll try to keep y'all posted. Thanks for tuning in. Hey, this channel is about an old man trying to run with a bunch of kids. Alright, this is the way it goes. Somebody lost a transmission or something down there, so there's oil on the track, and so we're all waiting for our first time trial. And there are quite a few cars here. And I don't think they're all up here for our class yet. Quite a big wheel stand there.
What?
Quite a big wheel stand there.
Yeah.
I didn't cut such a good light. Had a 1.433 60-foot time and a 712 on the ET at 90, almost 93 miles an hour. And I don't know if you can tell it, but the carburetor cleaned out up towards the finish line, and the car took off up like a shot. So hopefully we can have this thing under control. I don't know. We'll see. All right, we had our one and only time trial today, and it's May 17th. It's the 4th points race at Summit Motorsports Park. We're on Edelbrock Pro, which is no box. And that was the first run I made down the track. As I said, we've had some carburetor problems. It seems to be loading up. I had an 086 light, which wasn't good. But the ET was 7.12, which isn't too far off, at 92, almost 93 miles an hour. Now, since I said the carburetor is loading up, what it did was about halfway through third gear, before the finish line, probably the last 60, 70 feet, it cleaned out and it took off like a rocket. Wow. So the car's doing okay. The car did a big wheel stand, and but it did the ET. So we'll see what happens. We're gonna figure out what we dial in. I don't know. It's going to tell me that the dial in ought to, the weather station is going to tell me that the dial in ought to be 70 something. But with the carburetor acting up, I don't know. We'll find out. let's see. Let's see what we did. So, I dialed 710, he dialed 652. He had an 014 light, I had an 028 light. So I was behind by 14 at the beginning. And I ran a 708, so I broke out. He ran a 653.3, which means he didn't run quite on his dial-in, but he did pretty good. My mile per hour was almost 56, or almost 96 miles an hour. So, all right, I crossed the finish line. I broke out by 1900s. And so I was locked out because I crossed the finish line 0.0185 before he did, but I was 19 thousandths under the dial. So even if I had got on the brakes, ran right on the dial in, I'd lost by 0.0005. Okay, but at least it ran better. I was more confident about it. Maybe we kind of fixed the carburetor problem. I don't know. We'll find out. All right, we just had our first round of the season. Before I went out, I noticed that the fuel pressure was almost 7 pounds per square inch, which usually it's just a little bit more than 6 pounds. So we dialed that back to 6 pounds, just a little over 6 pounds. So my weather predictor said I'd run a 706. I didn't think it would do that. So I dialed a 710. The other guy dialed a 652. He had a 0.014 reaction time. I had a 0.028 reaction time. So I was 14 thousandths of a second behind at the beginning. He ran a 653.3. So he wasn't quite on his dial-in. I ran a 708.1, which means I broke out. I crossed the finish line, so I broke out. By 0.019 seconds. And I crossed the finish line I crossed the finish line 0.0185 seconds before he did. So maybe if I would have got on the brakes, maybe I would have had a chance to run right on my dial-in, maybe beat him, but it was a close race. It was fun. I did a wheel stand. Wish we could have made more runs. But that's it for the day at Summit Motorsports Park.